Hello, my friend. Welcome to our channel. Relax with Bedtime Stories. My name is Mushroom, and it is an honor to be your guide tonight. This is a space for you to let go, to rest. So take a slow breath and exhale gently. Now, let's step through the door together into a story that will soothe your soul and lull you to sleep. Here we go. And Dan, you feel your body settle into the bed as though the mattress itself is holding you in a gentle embrace. The blanket is soft against your skin, the air around you just the right temperature, warm enough to comfort, cool enough to keep you from melting into a human pancake. You let your eyelids drift closed, and you notice how the world begins to feel a little different in the darkness. It's not the kind of darkness that hides things, it's the kind that reveals them. The hum of distant traffic fades. The fridge in the kitchen sighs softly, and you realize you can hear the smallest sound of your own breathing. This is the first step into quiet clarity, not fighting the noise of your mind, but letting it settle, like snowflakes finding their place after a storm. Your breath becomes the metronome of your journey. Inhale, hold, exhale, and with each breath, you picture yourself walking down a staircase. The steps are wide and steady, railed from smooth stone that has been here for centuries. Perhaps the same kind of stone the Romans used to build their roads, the ones that connected their empire like veins in a living body. Historians still argue whether those roads were more for moving armies or for trade, but right now, for you, they're just for moving gently inward. Down you go. 10 steps. 9. 8. With each one, your mind loosens its grip on the tiny irritations it's been clinging to all day. That text you didn't reply to. That awkward thing you said in a meeting 3 years ago that you still occasionally cringe about. Yes, that one. We're letting it go. By the time you reach step 1, you're not just walking. You're floating into a vast, open courtyard of your own mind. The walls are high and warm, bathed in golden light. In the center, a fountain sends up quiet arcs of water, the droplets catching the light before returning to the still pool below. The water is your thoughts. Sometimes they rise, sparkle, and fall back into stillness. You stand here for a moment just watching. There's no need to fix anything. You simply observe. Even the less than pretty thoughts, like that stubborn belief you're not doing enough, or the memory of someone's careless words that you kept like an unwanted souvenir, are allowed to be here. They hover, faint and translucent, like smoke rings in the air. You notice the sensation of your body now. Your toes loosen, your calves soften. Your shoulders, which may have been auditioning for the role of ear warmers all day, drift back to where they belong. It's as if every muscle has been politely informed that it is no longer required to participate in the day's drama. And now, something curious happens. The golden light shifts, becoming softer, almost liquid. It begins to flow toward those hazy thought forms in the air. When the light touches them, they don't fight back. They just fade, as though they never belonged here in the first place. You can almost hear them sigh in relief. Finally, we're free. A breeze moves through the courtyard, carrying with it a faint, ancient fragrance. Lavender and something else, something like the scent of parchment and ink, as if a library older than memory has just opened its doors. The smell seems to tell you, you've been here before, in dreams, in quiet moments, in that split second before you fall asleep. This place belongs to you. And now, with every breath, you sink deeper into that knowing. Your subconscious begins to hum with its own quiet rhythm, like the deep resonant tone of a Tibetan singing bowl. Fun fact, the oldest known singing bowls date back over 2,000 years, and no one agrees whether they were used for music, meditation, or as an ancient form of sound therapy. But here, in your courtyard, the sound feels like it's tuning every cell in your body to the frequency of calm. You might picture yourself lying in the grass here, feeling the earth beneath you warm and alive. You look up at the sky, it's twilight, that in-between hour when the sun has bowed out gracefully and the moon hasn't yet claimed the stage. There's a softness to this light, the kind that makes everything look like a painting. You remember now, thoughts aren't permanent, they're weather. Some days sunny, some cloudy, some a full-blown thunderstorm with hail the size of your regrets. But weather always moves on. And as you lie there, you realize the clouds above are thinning. The first star winks at you, like it's in on the secret you're about to remember. You've always had the ability to change the climate in your mind. You turn your attention inward again and notice a door you hadn't seen before at the far end of the courtyard. It's made of dark wood, carved with intricate patterns, spirals, waves and leaves. When you walk toward it, you notice the carvings shift slightly, as though they're alive. Your fingers brush against the surface and you feel a pulse beneath them. The door swings open without a sound, revealing a narrow hallway lit by small lanterns. The walls are lined with shelves, and on each shelf sits a glass jar. Inside each jar is a little wisp of thought, some bright and glowing, others dim and dusty. These are your stored memories, beliefs, and patterns. Some jars are nearly empty, their contents already faded. Others are crowded with restless energy. You pause, recognizing some of them. That jar on the top shelf holds the voice that told you, "You're not ready yet." The one beside it contains a loop of a moment when you felt overlooked. But now, here in this place, you realize something important. You don't have to smash them. You can just release them. You lift one jar, feel its weight, and then open it. The wisp inside rises, almost gratefully, dissolving into the air. You do it again and again. Some jars you keep because their contents are part of who you choose to be. Others you let go without a second thought. As you continue, you feel lighter. Your body on the bed feels like it's sinking a little deeper, as though gravity itself is giving you a reassuring hug. Somewhere far away, you might hear the soft rush of the ocean, or maybe it's just your own breath, steady and calm. By the time you reach the last shelf, your steps are slow, not from tiredness, but from the deep, unshakable peace that wrapped itself around you like a cloak. You close the final jar and set it down empty. The hallway begins to dissolve into light, and you find yourself back in the courtyard. Only now, the fountain is quieter, the air warmer, the light richer. You feel that you've made room, not just for calm, but for whatever beautiful thing your deeper self will bring next. Glowed in your golden courtyard, the fountain whispering softly in the background, and you feel the air shift again. It's not a sudden gust, more like a quiet invitation, a beckoning. You know without knowing how that it's time to move deeper into the places where the past has woven itself into your subconscious. The ground beneath your feet becomes a path, smooth stones, warm from the glow of unseen lanterns. You step forward, and with each step, the sound of the fountain grows fainter, replaced by a low hum that feels as if it's coming from inside you. It's steady, like the deep note of an old cello. Some say the cello's voice is the closest to the human voice in tone, which might explain why it feels so intimate, like it's playing just for you. Whether historians will ever agree on that or not, well, they're still arguing over whether the ancient Greeks invented the first healing music, or if it's just romantic speculation. The tree leads you toward an archway, carved from weathered wood, vines curling around it in slow, unhurried spirals. Beyond it is a forest, but not the kind that overwhelms you. Here, the trees stand far enough apart for light to spill in ribbons through the branches. The air is cool, fragrant with moss and something faintly sweet, maybe wild honeysuckle. This forest feels like memory itself, layered, shifting, sometimes familiar, sometimes strange. As you walk in, you notice that the trunks of the trees aren't just brown or grey. They shimmer faintly, and in their bark are shapes, faces, moments, little fragments of stories. You recognize some: the laughter of a friend, the sting of an old argument, a summer afternoon when the world felt endless. They aren't shouting at you, they're just here, like photographs in an album you haven't looked at in years. You pause beside one tree, and there it is, a memory you'd almost forgotten. The time you tried to say something important, but the words got tangled, and someone misunderstood. It used to burn inside you. Now it just rests there. You notice how it doesn't hurt in the same way anymore. It's like finding an old sweater in the back of the closet, still familiar, but not something you need to wear again. You keep walking, and the trees start to thin, opening into a small clearing. In the center stands something unexpected, a low stone wall, its surface etched with hundreds of tiny symbols. Some look like ancient scripts, others like doodles you might have drawn in the margins of a school notebook. A soft wind stirs, and you hear whispers, threads of thoughts from different times in your life, all drifting here to rest. You place your hands on the wall, and a warmth travels up your arms. It's not a flash of lightning or a dramatic surge, more like the heat from a sunlit stone after a long summer's day. Your fingers trace one symbol, and an image flickers in your mind. A younger version of you, holding on to something you thought you had to keep. A reeler.
Relationship, a job, a certain image of who you should be. But now, watching from here, you see it clearly. It was never yours to carry forever. You let your hand drop, and as you do, the image fades, carried off by that same soft wind. One by one, you run your fingers over more symbols, each one releasing a knot, each one untying another thread in the web. Some dissolve into light instantly, others linger, almost reluctant, like a guest who insists on saying goodbye 3 more times before actually leaving. You give them patience. Sometimes even memories need a gentle nudge rather than a push. From the edge of the clearing, you hear a small sound, like glass clinking together. When you look, you see them. Strands of thin, silver thread stretched between the trees, each thread connecting moments from your life. They glisten faintly in the air, and you realize you've been walking through this web all along. It's delicate, almost beautiful, but some of the threads are knotted, tangled in patterns that spoke in low. Block the light. You step closer and reach out. The threads aren't sharp, they're soft, almost silky. When you run your fingers along them, they hum faintly as if remembering their original purpose. Some threads you keep. They're the ones that connect you to joy, to kindness, to strength you didn't know you had. Others you gently untie, feeling the web shift and lighten around you. You're not cutting away your past. You're rearranging it so it no longer blocks your way forward. It's the difference between a messy pile of yarn in the back of a drawer and a neatly woven tapestry hanging where you can see it. Somewhere far above, a bird calls, a slow, low note that echoes between the trees. It reminds you of something you once read. In some cultures, people believe birds carry messages between the living and the spiritual world. Maybe this bird is telling you you're doing well. Or maybe it's just checking if you dropped any snacks. You smile and the forest seems to smile with you. The tangled threads are gone. They fewer now, the light more golden. You can feel your shoulders relax further, the kind of ease that comes from finishing a task you didn't even realize was weighing you down. The path continues out of the clearing, curving gently downhill. You follow it, and the air grows warmer, carrying the faint sound of running water. When you reach the edge of a small stream, you notice the stones beneath the water are smooth and pale, worn down by years of gentle flow. The stream itself glitters, and you realize it's carrying tiny flecks of light, little sparks that might once have been the knots you untied. They're drifting away, not vanishing, but transforming into something harmless, even beautiful. You kneel beside the water and trail your fingers through it. The coolness surprises you for a moment, and then it feels like it's pulling something from you. Residue, maybe, from all those memories you've released tonight. It's not uncomfortable. Cinder colors swirl away. You stay there for a while, letting the stream do its work. Above you, the trees sway gently, leaves rustling in a rhythm that matches your breathing. The web is untangled now, and you can feel the difference. Your mind is lighter, your chest freer, as if you've been carrying an invisible weight and finally set it down. When you rise, you notice that the forest path ahead is lined with tiny lanterns, more than before. They seem to be guiding you towards something new. With one last glance at the stream, you step forward, feeling the ground steady beneath your feet, the way only someone who has just let go of what no longer serves them can feel. The lanterns lead you into a softer light, where the air smells faintly of earth after rain. Somewhere in the distance you think you hear the faint chime of a bell, calling you onward, deeper into the heart of your renewal. The lanterns guide you forward, their glow steady and warm, until the path opens into a gentle meadow bathed in silvery moonlight. It's so still here that you can almost hear the grass breathing, each blade swaying ever so slightly, as if exhaling in unison. This place feels different from the courtyard and the forest. It's not about letting go anymore. It's about planting something new. The air carries the scent of damp soil, wild herbs, and faint traces of night-blooming flowers. Perhaps moonflowers, the kind that only open under the stars. Once, in ancient China, moonflowers were seen as symbols of fleeting beauty, blooming only at night and withering by morning. Some historians still argue whether their meaning was about impermanence or hidden strength. Standing here, it feels like both: beauty that appears when the world is quiet, and courage that doesn't need the daylight to shine. In the center of the meadow, you notice a low wooden hair table. On it rests a small clay bowl filled with dark, rich earth, and beside it a bundle of seeds tied together with a strip of linen. They're not labeled, no neat little tags telling you what will grow. This is your choice, your intention. You reach for the seeds, and they're surprisingly warm in your hand. Each one seems to hum faintly, the way a seashell seems to hold the ocean's whisper. These seeds are your new thoughts, your new beliefs, ones that will root deeply and flourish in the cleared spaces you've made. You kneel by the table, scoop a little of the soil into your palms, and breathe in its earthy scent. There's something grounding about the smell, a reminder that even the tallest trees began as something small and buried. You press your fingers into the soil and place the seeds one by one, covering them gently as if tucking them into bed. For each seed, you think of something you want to welcome: a sense of worthiness, patience with yourself, a soft but steady confidence, even small joys, like laughing at your own terrible jokes without apologizing for them. As you plant the last seed, you hear a sound, the faint gurgle of water. You look up to see a narrow stream winding through the meadow. It wasn't there a moment ago, but here it is now, flowing clear and slow. Beside it rests a simple wooden ladle. You dip it into the stream, and the water feels cool, almost silken. When you pour it over the planted seeds, the soil drinks it in with a quiet sigh. In the distance, a gentle breeze stirs, carrying the scent of rosemary and sage. You can almost taste it in the air, and you remember reading somewhere that in medieval times, people believed rosemary could protect the mind and strengthen memory. Whether that's true or just one of those charming bits of folklore, the idea makes you smile. You imagine these plants growing here one day, surrounding the meadow in a soft, fragrant shield. You sit back on your heels, hands resting in your lap, and you notice the moon has risen higher. Its light is brighter now, spilling silver over the meadow. You feel it soaking into you, the way the seeds soak in the water. The moon has always been a patient witness, pulling the tides, marking the months, watching empires rise and fall. It doesn't rush. Neither do your seeds. You close your eyes and picture the roots beginning to grow beneath the soil. Slow, deliberate, strong. There's no hurry. Rows know that the best growth begins where no one can see it. Somewhere nearby, you hear a soft rustle. When you open your eyes, a small fox stands at the edge of the meadow, watching you. Its fur catches the moonlight, and its eyes are bright but calm. In Japanese folklore, foxes, kitsune, are seen as messengers and protectors, sometimes playful, sometimes wise. You're not sure which this one is, but you have the feeling it approves of your work. The fox tilts its head, then trots across the grass, stopping near the table. It sniffs at the soil, then glances up at you as if to say, "Keep going, this ma." And then, as quietly as it arrived, it slips back into the meadow's edge, disappearing into the tall grass. You breathe in deeply, feeling the cool air fill your lungs. The seeds are planted, the water given. Now you realize it's time to nurture, not just here in the meadow, but within yourself. Nurturing isn't a grand gesture. It's the small, steady things. The gentle words you speak to yourself in the morning. The way you allow yourself to rest without guilt. The tiny celebrations for victories no one else notices. The meadow seems to echo that thought. Somewhere in the grass, crickets begin their slow, rhythmic song. The stream gurgles softly, and you can hear the faint creak of the wooden table as if it's settling in for the night. The seeds are safe, and more importantly, so are you. You stand slowly, brushing the soil from your hands. At the far end of the meadow, a narrow path appears, lit by that same silvery moonlight. You take one last look at the planted seeds, your promises to you, or self, and then follow the path. The ground is soft beneath your feet, the kind of softness that makes each step feel like it's being welcomed. As you walk, you pass small clusters of flowers, glowing faintly in the moonlight. They lean toward you as you pass, as if acknowledging your journey. The path curves, leading you toward a rise in the land. When you reach the top, you see a shape in the distance, something tall and glowing, like a tower of light. It feels familiar, though you can't quite place why. You start toward it, the meadow fading into the background, and you realize something important. The seeds you planted aren't just in the earth behind you, they're inside you now. Each thought, each intention already rooting quietly in the soil of your mind. And with every step toward that glowing shape, you carry them forward.
The path slopes gently downward now, and with each step, the glow ahead grows warmer. It's not blinding. It's the kind of light you might see spilling from the windows of a home on a winter evening, the kind that promises warmth and safety before you even open the door. You crest a small hill, and there it is, your sanctuary. It's not made of stone or steel, but of something softer, almost luminous. The walls seem woven from light itself, threaded through with strands of color that shift like the surface of a soap bubble. It doesn't need to keep things out so much as it radiates a presence that nothing heavy or harmful can cross. As you step closer, the entrance opens, not swinging on hinges, but simply parting, as if the light itself is making way for you. The floor inside is warm under your feet, not hot, just the perfect kind of warmth that seeps into your bones. You look around and realize there's no furniture here in the usual sense, and that there are shapes. A low bench formed from a curve of amber light, a small pool in the corner with water so still it looks like glass, and walls that hold patterns, some geometric, some organic, all slowly shifting as if breathing with you. This is your inner sanctuary, and it's been waiting for you. You walk to the center, where the light is brightest. Here the air feels different, denser, yet easy to breathe, like it's saturated with calm. When you inhale, you can almost taste it, a mix of cool mountain air and the faint sweetness of fresh fruit. Maybe that's just your mind adding its own comforts. A low sound hums through the space, vibrating gently in your chest. It reminds you of the sound cathedrals make when a single note from the organ swells and holds. In medieval Europe, it was believed that certain notes could bring a listener closer to the divine, though historians still argue whether that was spiritual insight or just really good acoustics. Either way, here, that hum feels like it's tuning something deep inside you. You notice alcoves along the walls, each holding a small glowing sphere. When you approach one, you see that its light flickers gently, as if in rhythm with a heartbeat. Your heartbeat. You lift your hand toward it and the glow brightens. In that instant you understand. Each sphere holds a part of you that's already strong, already whole. Your compassion, your resilience, your humor, yes, even the kind that involves terrible puns. You move from alcove to alcove, letting each sphere remind you of its gift. The light seems to weave itself around you, layering you in something protective but not heavy, like a cloak woven from sunshine. From the center of the room, the pool catches your attention again. You walk over and kneel beside it. The surface is perfectly still, but when you look in, you don't see your face exactly. You see the feeling of yourself. Not how you look in the mirror, but how you feel when you're fully at ease.
Your eyes are bright, your shoulders loose, your breath slow and deep. It's you without the armor, without the old weight. You dip your fingers into the pool and the water feels cool, almost tingling. Ripples spread outward, carrying a faint golden shimmer. The moment your fingers touch the surface, you feel something click into place inside you, turning a key you didn't know you were holding. And then you hear it, a voice, not outside you, but from somewhere deep within. It's calm, steady, and unmistakably yours. It says only one thing: you are safe here. The words are simple, but they settle into you like warm tea on a cold day. You realize this sanctuary isn't just for tonight. It's always been here. You just needed to remember the way back. A breeze moves through the space, not from a window, but from the walls themselves. It carries with it the scent of cedar and honey, grounding and sweet. Somewhere in that scent, you catch a memory of a place you once felt safe. Maybe a grandparent's kitchen, maybe the quiet corner of a library. Maybe just the feeling of being under a blanket on a rainy afternoon. The light around you pulses, once, slowly, like the sanctuary itself is breathing with you. You can almost imagine it has a personality, calm, patient, and a little amused by how long it sometimes takes you to find your way back. In one corner of the sanctuary, a narrow archway appears. It wasn't there before, but you feel no surprise. The path beyond it is lined with a faint golden glow leading upward. You understand without words that this path will carry you out into the open again, but not the same open you knew before. This time, you'll be walking out with the cloak of light around your shoulders and the memory of this place fixed deep in your mind. You linger for a moment longer, taking one last slow look around. The spheres in the alcoves glow steadily. The hum in the air is as soft and sure as a heartbeat. The pool reflects the light, unbroken now, no ripples left. You take a deep breath, feeling the air fill ever. And as you exhale, you step through the archway. The path slopes upwards at first, then levels out. The golden glow around you doesn't fade, it simply blends with the starlight that begins to appear overhead. And you know, without needing to be told, that this sanctuary will always be there when you need it. You can return at any time, in any moment, with nothing more than a breath and a thought. The path ahead curves gently, and in the distance, you can already sense the shimmer of your next destination, a place where the lighter, freer version of yourself is waiting. You awaken to the sound of wind. It's not the kind of wind that howls or roars. No, this one moves softly, like a slow breath across the land, carrying with it the faint scent of olives and dust. The world around you is pale gold, the late afternoon sun stretching shadows long and thin along the rolling hills. You feel it on your skin, warm but not oppressive, as if the sunlight has been carefully measured out, just enough to comfort without tiring you. Ahead, The road twists like a ribbon of worn stone and compacted earth, winding towards a cluster of rooftops in the distance. Jerusalem. The name itself carries weight. Even before you set eyes on its walls, you can sense its gravity. For centuries, it has been the beating heart of faith and politics, a place of worship, argument, longing, and destiny. And now, Jesus is walking toward it. You are part of the crowd today, feet crunching on the path, the hum of voices surrounding you. There's a quiet anticipation in the air, like before a festival, but also a subtle undercurrent of tension. The disciples, walking just ahead, glance at Jesus often. You notice how their brows crease, how they whisper to one another when they think he isn't listening. Peter is especially restless, occasionally stepping ahead and then falling back, as though torn between the urge to protect and the need to obey. You pass by small villages along the way, homes made of sun-baked clay, their walls painted with faded streaks from years of wind and rain. Children dart out from doorways, curious eyes following the group. Some laugh and wave, others cling shyly to their mother's skirts. Jesus greets them with that same quiet warmth, a smile that seems to fold time in on itself, making the moment feel eternal. The road grows steeper, and the city on the hill grows nearer. You can now see the sunlight catching on the pale stone of the walls, making them glow like ivory. The temple itself gleams, its white marble columns and gilded details catching the fading light. You remember hearing stories about it, the Holy of Holies, where only the high priest may enter, the curtain as thick as a man's handspan, separating heaven's dwelling from humanity, the place where God's presence is said to rest. Suddenly, the group slows. Jesus stops, looking out over the city, and to your surprise, his eyes fill with tears. He speaks softly, but each word is clear, as if the air itself is carrying his voice to every ear. If you, even you, had only known on this day what would bring you peace, but now it is hidden from your eyes. The words hang heavy. It's not anger you hear, but sorrow, a grief so deep that it seems to press against your chest. No one moves for a moment. Even the breeze feels still. Then Jesus turns, and the journey resumes. The rhythm of feet on stone picks up again, and yet something has shifted. You can feel it. The road to Jerusalem is no longer just a path. It's the final ascent toward something unshakable. The gates loom large now. They are heavy, ancient, built not only to guard, but to proclaim, a statement of strength and history. Roman soldiers stand nearby, their armor glinting in the light, spears resting in their hands. Their eyes track the crowd with practiced disinterest, the way one might watch a river flowing past. But you catch one of them glance at Jesus for a fraction longer than the others, his brow furrowing in quiet recognition, though of what you cannot tell. And now, my friend, we have reached the quiet end of tonight's journey. The moon still hangs above, casting its silver light across the gentle waves. They continue to breathe in and out, just as you do. Feel the calm that has settled within you, like warm sand, under your bare feet, like a soft blanket wrapping around your shoulders. You are safe here. You are held here. You are exactly where you are meant to be. Let the last whispers of the tide carry away anything heavy you no longer wish to keep. In this stillness, your mind can rest, your body can release, and your dreams can begin to bloom. If sleep has not already found you, you may drift there now, following the rhythm of the sea, following the light of the moon, until all is peaceful and all is quiet. Good night, my dear friend. Sleep well, and I will see you again beneath the same moon.